In this episode, we react to the Elimination Chamber and the reaction some superstars got. Welcome back to another episode of the Marked Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Mikey, and we are here to talk about Elimination Chamber in Perth. It's one of those shows that overseas. For this one, it was 2 a.m. in the morning when it was on my time, so I did not watch this when it aired live. I was sleeping. I watched it when I woke up. But it was a nice thing to wake up to and watch because it was a good show. Overall, did anything surprising happen? No. Was there any big swerves? No. But sometimes that's okay. Sometimes when the expected happens, it should happen. It's not necessarily a bad thing. If that's where everything is leading to and it makes sense, then you do it. You could do a big swerve and make a big surprise to throw everyone off, but if there's not something else to go on to after that, especially with WrestleMania coming so quickly, it would be silly to just throw in swerves just to have a swerve because you feel like you have to have one. So let's get into it. Let's talk about these matches. First up was Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae versus Kabuki Warriors for the Women's Tag Team Championship. This was a fine match. I was glad that Indy Hartwell got on the show, period, because that's her home country. So you're hoping that she's going to get a chance to at least perform in front of that crowd, right? So glad that she was on there. Indy got plenty of chance throughout the match. She got plenty of fun spots to get the crowd excited for her being in the match. And the other performers in this match, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Candice LeRae, everybody else in this match is tip-top performers. So it was a well-performed match. Again, nothing surprising about this match. Kabuki Warriors win in the end. And that was that. This was on the pre-show, so it felt like a pre-show match. It was fun, and good spots for Indy, but yeah, it just didn't feel like it had the big match feel that the matches on the actual card did. So let's get to the actual card that started once the show officially began. And the first matchup was Women's Elimination Chamber featuring Becky Lynch, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and again, Becky Lynch wins. No big surprise here. It had been feeling the last few weeks that they were, building Becky to win a match to go against Rhea at WrestleMania, and that's what we got here. The match itself, I think this was my favorite match of the night. And this one started with Naomi and Becky, with everybody else in the pods, and they themselves were just having a nice little singles one-on-one match to start the show. Nothing too big or exciting, but then our next contestant comes in. Tiffany Stratton came in, and already right away, just in her entrance, she was getting a good reaction. When she comes out of the pod, she gets a good reaction, and when she's in there, she's going up against two legendary names, Becky Lynch, Naomi, and she's on par with them, pushing them even, and proving that she's ready for big matches with big names already. Um, we'll have more to say about her later. Liv Morgan came in fourth. She came in and she starts off by wrecking Tiffany, just throwing her into the pods over and over and over and over. And then everybody's getting in big shots on Tiffany. They're all just going to town on her, beating up the new girl. And then Naomi hits a sunset flip power bomb on Liv off the pod. That was cool. But out of that, Tiffany gets the roll up pin on Naomi, eliminating Naomi pretty early into the match. And you could tell that there's a little bit negative reaction, but not that big. Not as big as you would think, because Naomi's a face and Tiffany's heel. But people really like Tiffany, so people were upset that Naomi got eliminated so fast, but also at the same time, again, Naomi's one of the legends. So then you're saying, oh, but the new girl would really like, you're letting her be the one that pins her. We actually really like that for her because you're showing confidence in her already. So, you could tell that people wanted to be more upset because Naomi was gone soon, but they're also really, happy for Tiffany. So it was kind of a mixed reaction there. Then Raquel Rodriguez came in fifth. And again, everybody's coming straight out of the pods and going straight after Tiffany. Of course, Raquel, she's the monster in this match. So eventually everybody's ganging up on her to try to take her down because can't do it by, one-on-one. And then Bianca Belair came in sixth. Again, going straight after Tiffany. And then once Bianca Belair is in, we really hit the races. Big move after big move throughout the match. Liv hit this cool seated senton bomb on Raquel, who was draped over the corner. Liv coming off the top of the pod and jumping down like this seated senton onto Raquel. Then Tiffany and Becky Lynch are on top of the pod. Tiffany throws Becky off, and then Tiffany does a swanton bomb off of the pod into a group of wrestlers. And then here's where this comes in. Liv Morgan, beloved babyface, always gets a big reaction. She eliminates Tiffany and the crowd boos. So not only does Liv not get cheered here for getting a pin, Tiffany gets a reaction of the fans being upset that she's eliminated from the match. I don't think the fans were really booing Liv Morgan. The fans were booing the fact that Tiffany was eliminated because fans are really behind and like Tiffany already. And you could see that from her debut match in NXT. The NXT crowd was behind Tiffany right away, and now that's translating to the main roster, where the main roster audience is behind her right away. It's pretty amazing to see because there was some real dark days of NXT call-ups there for a while, where they would just change their character totally from the NXT to the main roster, and they'd be trying out something new while in front of a new audience, and that just does not work for getting reactions. Well, Tiffany is just being who she has been, and it's just getting over a different way than it did in the NXT audience. Like in the NXT audience, they're there every day, so they understand. Hey, this is the heel. We'll boo her like a heel. Where now on the main roster, people are feeling like, yeah, she's a heel, but we really like her, so we're just gonna cheer for her anyways. So either way, and either place that she's been, she's gotten over. So that's cool to see. Um, Later on here, the next big move, Raquel expended all of her energy, of course, to double power bomb Becky and Liv. And then so Bianca is able to take advantage of this, give Raquel the KOD and a pin. Liv Morgan comes out of this, rolling up Bianca, getting the pin. And then Becky Lynch grabs Liv, gives her the manhandle slam and a pin. Becky Lynch wins the match, going to WrestleMania. Again, no big surprise there. That is a big time match. Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley. That is main event worthy. So we'll see how they build this going into WrestleMania, but I'm very excited to see that match. And just this match overall, if we're going to talk about this match, not only was it a good match, it was a really good match for Tiffany. I felt like it really felt like an initiation for Tiffany. Like they were welcoming her into the group and accepting her. Like it would almost be like you would see or read about with like a gang, right? They're like, okay, if you're gonna get initiated into the gang, everybody in the group is gonna beat you up, and if you survive it, you're in the group. That's what this felt like, because like I said, every time another wrestler came out of a pod, they went straight after Tiffany and they were giving her the big shots, doing all the big moves to her. Like if there was a big move happening in this match, 90% of the time Tiffany was involved in it, either the one doing the big move or the big move was happening to her. So she got a lot of screen time during this match. A lot of attention was put on her during this match, and it was well deserved. And she did not disappoint in any of those moments. So she's going to be. You think the reaction to her in this match was big? I think she's just going to get bigger and bigger reactions as time goes on. Let's see here. Next up, our next match. Oops. The next match was Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. I do not like the name that Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, their tag name is, the New Catch Republic. Not a fan of that. I don't know what it should be, but it should not be that. They need to, if they really are going to have them be a regular tag team, you need to get them a new name quick, because it's just not cool. Of course, at the beginning of this match, Dominic takes the mic to introduce Judgment Day, and of course, Australia boos him, as they should. You could tell this crowd was loud and lively. It doesn't sound like he normally would in an enclosed stadium, but you could still tell it was good and loud there. Overall, this was a fun match. I'm a big Tyler Bate fan and a Pete Dunne fan. I've been loving them since the NXT UK days. They've been putting on good matches forever. Same thing with Finn Balor, Damian Priest. Everybody in this was real good wrestlers, and it was very entertaining. Again, just was nothing really unexpected here. But you got to see some really good wrestling, so that was fun. And Judgment Day won. Next thing up was the Grayson Waller effect, and the big thing to take out of this was Cody Rhodes challenging The Rock to a one-on-one match before or any time between now and WrestleMania. Uh, so that's a big thing to take out of it. Some other things, though. Obviously, Grayson Waller comes out here. He gets the crowd reaction again. Home country deal. Austin Theory comes out here with him as well, and I don't know why they gave Austin Theory those lines that he did to open up the promo about the Vegemite and whatever else. The comments he was making, the real like cheap heat line stuff, that was so corny and so bad. Fans didn't react. I've been watching Austin Theory for a long time, a long time. And I think Triple H hired him into NXT because he understood what this guy could potentially be. And then unfortunately, Vince got his hands on him early, and he's just been stuck in this bad place with his character for a couple of years, where people just don't really care about him. And you're hoping that is going to change with Vince being gone. But the start of this promo was not it. It kind of felt like, oh no, they're still going to give him this bad stuff. And you feel bad for the guy because you see how much talent he has. How is he going to get over or get this bad of material over? So they just absolutely gave him a horrible script at that started this out. The next thing that we got was Rollins saying that he is days away from being medically cleared. Now that is very interesting. We were saying it could be like a month and a half before he'd be ready to go, so it would be close to WrestleMania before he'd be ready to go. But he says he's days away from being medically cleared. Makes me really interested to know what plans they have for him, if he's going to be ready that soon. He's making it sound like he's ready to wrestle. So he's available. So, if he doesn't have to wait till WrestleMania, what kind of plans do they have for him in that championship before that? I'm very curious. But now getting back to Cody challenging The Rock, saying that he was once the people's champ, but not now because you have to actually be around the people, and The Rock is never there. He rarely shows up. And then, Cody said, hey, I'm free till Mania. So, you know what? Why don't you challenge? Why don't you accept a challenge to go one-on-one with me anytime, anywhere? And then that's where Seth steps in and says, hey, man, we all know there's no such thing as one-on-one versus the bloodline. And, if The Rock accepts his challenge, that he will be there to back him up. And then, of course, this all breaks down to where the heels, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, they think they need to get some cheap shots in on Seth and Cody. Of course, that doesn't work out for him. They able to fight him off. I loved. Now, see, this is what I'm saying. Austin Theory actually has talent and can be entertaining when he's in here and he's doing his impression of The Rock, and he's like, "Do you smell?" And then I think it was Cody, right? Cody takes him all the way over to the corner, smashes his head into the turnbuckle. But as he's going over there, he's still yelling into the microphone, "Smell!" It's like that was perfectly entertaining. He can be entertaining. You just got to give the guy better material. He's so talented. Please, Triple H, please, WWE, give Austin Theory better material because he has the talent. So yeah, that's how it all happened. It broke down. They have a little fun with that. And then we move on to our next match, which was the men's Elimination Chamber. All right, and this one featured Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, Logan Paul, and LA Knight. This one started out with Drew and LA Knight. And uh Kevin Owens came in, Bobby Lashley came in, Randy Orton came in, and Logan Paul came in. We're going through this one a little bit faster because I did not find this Elimination Chamber as entertaining as the Women's Chamber. And to me, it didn't really feel like this one got going until the the last one got in. Whereas the Women's Chamber, as soon as Stephanie got in the match and being the third one in, it felt like, okay, we're off to the races. This one didn't really feel like it got off to the races until everybody was out of the pods. There's good entertaining stuff in there, but it didn't really feel like, okay, this is started. Um, we can mention Logan Paul. I mean, he gets it. Drawing on the pods while he's waiting, taunting people while he's waiting in the pod, waiting his turn. Good stuff. It just amazes me how fast he's gotten this whole thing. But again, fast forwarding through towards the end here, AJ Styles came out here. Bobby Lashley had been pinned, and they had to open up the cage to take him out of the ring. So AJ Styles comes running in here, and attacks LA Knight with a chair. Of course, that takes LA Knight out. Logan Paul, let's see here. So Logan Paul, he gets RKO'd, right? And he gets taken out. At this point, he had gotten his hands on some brass knuckles, and now he's upset. He's been taken out of the match, so it's looking like we're down to Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. And you're thinking this is going to be a good one-on-one match here, but no, Logan Paul, he's upset. He comes back in with the brass knuckles, knocks Randy Orton out, and Drew McIntyre. What else can he do? There's no rules against it, so he's got to take advantage of the situation. He gets the pin on Randy, and he is the winner over your Elimination Chamber, and going on to WrestleMania, we assume against Seth Rollins for that championship, and that will be a good match as well. And I'm really, really excited for Drew. I'm a big Drew McIntyre fan. I thought he did awesome during WrestleMania, during the pandemic, and then carrying the show through the pandemic. And I'm really excited that he's going to get, a big spot like this in front of a live crowd. And I'm so happy that he's as hot as he is right now. Right? I mean, obviously, there's been crowds since then, and he was on WrestleMania last year, but his character wasn't as hot as it is right now. So we have a time again where people are really excited about Drew again, and he's going to get a chance to be on WrestleMania again and be on that big stage. I'm glad that that window opened back up, and they're not missing that window because. There's with all the unfortunate events that happened, it could have just been, we could have been looking back at oh man, that guy's career, it was so good and he was so good. It was just too bad that all his big moments didn't happen in front of the crowd. And then once we got crowds back, his character wasn't as hot. So I'm just really happy that his character is as hot as it is right now. And he's getting a big moment on the big stage. So good for Drew winning that. Our next match is the women's championship match between Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, and the crowd was going to be amazing for Rhea on this one. I mean, not only is she like a big star, who happens to be from Australia, so she's a big Australian star, but I mean, in the wrestling world, she is a huge star. Um, in social media world, right? I believe she's the most followed wrestler on TikTok. Like she's very very popular. Everybody loves her. I again another one when she came into NXT, uh, and they were. I guess it was technically when she was doing the Mae Young Classic, and she was looking like everybody was comparing her to Charlotte. Like, oh, she's a Charlotte clone. She was coming in back then, very bubbly, smiley, blonde hair. The way they had her, they were presenting her, it was like, oh, that's another, really athletic uh woman, right? A tall woman. Well, she's evolved a lot since then, but in every iteration of her, uh I've been a big fan of, and she's evolved to where she is now. And yeah, this is definitely, you could see how she's growing into being like the star that she is, like the biggest star. Like I said, not just a star because she's there in her home country, but doesn't matter where in the world she is on the stage, she is going to command the spotlight. And her alone being champion in a match and defending a championship, that is going to be worthy of a debate of should her match be main event at WrestleMania, because we had this match of Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, but we know exactly what was going to happen. Rhea Ripley won. Very good match, very hard hitting. Um, it was great to see this kind of match where Rhea Ripley is technically the smaller wrestler, so she got to be the quote unquote underdog in this match. She got to be the one fighting from the bottom to get on top, because we don't know that mommy's always on top, so she is going to come out on top. But she had to fight. She had to fight from the bottom to get there in this match. So that was fun to see, because we don't normally see that, because she's usually bigger than everyone. But in this one, Nia Jax is bigger, and very strong. So you get to see Nia, handling Rhea quite impressively a lot throughout this match. And I was impressed with how well Nia Jax did in this match as well. She's really impressed since she's made her return. She hasn't hurt anybody yet, so that's good. And also, she just looks like she's better in the ring than she was before, but still looks dangerous, which is to me a positive, because you want somebody out there that you believe is a potential danger to the baby faces that you're cheering for. The story of this match, Rhea having to chop her down and attempting riptides throughout this match, finally gets it on the third attempt and is able to win the match and retain off of that. Love to see her celebrate in front of that crowd, with all that pyro going off, sit in the crowd with her family and celebrate. You could tell how excited she was. Like, it was like real emotions pouring out. Like, she just wasn't like the Rhea Ripley character in that moment. She was herself in that moment, being really excited, about her performance, about the moment. It was really fun to see. So, yeah, overall, Elimination Chamber was a good show. Um, here's what I'll say I think was the biggest deal coming out of the show, because we expected everything. Um, to me, the biggest deal is that it's Tiffy time, and that has been fully realized during this match. Um, like I said, just the crowd reaction to her, one on her entrance, two on the entrance of her coming into the match, coming out of the pod. Her proving that she can go in the ring with all of the best of them. And it looks believable. You know, no moment in there did it feel like, oh, well, this is really contrived. Like they're really forcing this moment. Like, no, she felt like she should be in that moment, and that she earned that moment. And then she, lived up to those moments that she had in the match. It really is Tiffy time going forward from here. I won't be surprised if they somehow find a match for her on WrestleMania, just because of how well she's doing already on the main roster and how well of a reaction she's getting. Yeah, like I said earlier as well, it felt like the initiation for her. She passed those initiations with flying colors, and we can just expect big things from her from this point on. I think. I mean, I like I said, I don't know what the match is, but I know I want to see her at WrestleMania. That's for sure. I know I want to see her in more big moments against more big names, right away. Don't keep the you got to keep the rocket strapped to her. Don't slow her down now. Um, keep her, you know, um, keep her interacted with all these people that she was in the match with. She obviously has a reason to have a beef with Liv Morgan now for pinning her. You have, you know, obvious great match, Tiffany Stratton. Her and Naomi obviously now have reason to beef with Naomi getting pinned so early in that match. So already you've built quite a few different feuds that you can have with her right away, and keep her with some of the bigger names in the company. So do it, because it is Tiffy time. And I'm really excited to see like the next year for her. You know, going all the way into next WrestleMania. She's not going to be main event this WrestleMania, obviously, but I could see already next year. We're talking about Tiffany, competing for a championship on a WrestleMania stage. That's how fast I think she's gonna ascend to the top. All right, and that was Elimination Chamber. Let me know what you thought about the Elimination Chamber, and what do you think the biggest story was? Do you agree with me that it's Tiffany was the biggest story coming out of this, or what do you think of the big story was coming out of this? All right, and then please subscribe and like. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment. Head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast platform. Hit subscribe, hit follow, leave a 5-star rating, leave a written review. That all helps the show grow, and I really appreciate it. All right, and we're done with this episode. So later, Marks.